Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds, in the studio Tuesday morning. You made a comment yesterday about UConn having been to the dance multiple times in the last few years, and I think they deserve some credit for being able to fight a very, very good Michigan team. But I think the reason they were able to do that was because of what you said. They have the experience, and that definitely helped against Michigan.
There's no question that the experience of being there is 4 of 5 times they've been there, and they've won 3 of them in the past. Connecticut is a very good basketball team, very good. But they didn't have in this game quite the physical prowess that Michigan has, and that's how the Wolverines won it. For a while there, I thought I was watching a rugby game on the basketball court. Guys are clutching, throwing each other on the floor, diving for basketballs and throwing them out of bounds and all this. And really, Mike, when you take a look at it, 69-63 is the final score. Of Michigan's 69 points, 25 of them scored from the foul line, 25 of 28. That's what Michigan was, 25 of 28 from the foul line. That's where they won the game. Connecticut, 12 of 16. That's respectable, but the Connecticut Huskies also scored, or I should say registered, and were charged with 22 personal fouls. And that's legit, folks. This is not one of those games where, I got home cooking and all that. No. That's how rough a game this was. Connecticut was able to score from three-point range. They had 9 trees, and Michigan only had 2. But that was because Connecticut could only shoot from the perimeter. They couldn't get the ball underneath at all. Points in the paint, that tells it all. Michigan had 36 points in the paint, Connecticut 22. And that's because of that big front line of Michigan blocking and swatting away shots, and it was really amazing. But the most valuable player, Elliot Cadeau, the point guard, a transfer from North Carolina, who actually played 1 year, actually 2, I'm wrong on that, 2 years of prep basketball at Link Academy down in Branson. Cadeau was the most valuable player, 19 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, and engineered the Michigan victory. Michigan deserved to win it. They were the better team. Connecticut gave them a very good fight. 69-63 is the final score, but the Wolverines, representing the Big Ten Conference, are the national champions of college basketball, and deservedly so. They played well.
I think overall it was a pretty good tournament, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
April 7th, significant day because you got your big old dusty book of facts out.
I remember it well. I was at KY3 when this happened. April the 7th, 1977. That's 49 years ago. The Toronto Blue Jays played their very first game ever. That's right, folks. It was 1977. Toronto Blue Jays were born, and you see what kind of a championship level they have now. I remember the game because while they play now in a relatively new stadium, they've been in the Dome Stadium now for 25 years, but they played their first games in what was called the National Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. It's where the Toronto Argonauts football team from the Canadian League played their games, and they had 44,000 on a day when it was snowing. That's right, the Blue Jays opened their season against the Chicago White Sox in a snowstorm, and I mean a swirling snowstorm. One of these where the flakes are real big and they come down, swirl all around. It leaves for a while, but then you've got to clean off the field and play it again. The Blue Jays won it by a score of 9-5. Most of the crowd of 44,000 stayed, or they're hardy fans in Toronto, but this was their first game 49 years ago.
And we had a pretty big day for our local college teams, don't we?
This will be a very big day, and it looks like it's going to be very nice weather. Both of the Springfield Major College, and I call them that, Drury's Division II, but still plays a very good schedule. Both teams, the Bears and the Drury Panthers, are on the road tonight. The Bears are at Missouri, play the Missouri Tigers up in Columbia. That'll be a nice little challenge for for both teams, as a matter of fact, but it would look good for the Bears to have a nice little W put in the column. Let's see what happens. And Drury goes to Warrensburg to play Central Missouri, which is a national D2 power. These will be very good games and good tests for our city teams to see how they're going to do.
Both the Cardinals and the Royals played yesterday. Let's start with the Cards. High-scoring game in that one.
Whoa. Watch out, gang. Cardinals played the Washington Nationals, so it was a game was played in the nation's capital. Cardinals lead 6-3 going into the 8th inning. This game's over. Washington's not very good. Au contraire, The Cardinals threw Olean on the fire. That's gasoline from the bullpen. Ryan Stanek, Matt Swanson. The Washington Nationals folks hit 3 home runs all in the 8th inning. Scored 6 runs. This is the Nationals. They're not very good at all. 6 runs in the 8th inning, 3 of them coming on home runs. James Woods, who is a very, very good player. Brady House and C.J. Abrams, who is also very... These are young players who are coming on now. And Washington wins the game 9-6. My goodness sake. Ryan Stanek, Matt Swanson, these are former... Well, Stanek is not, but Swanson's a former Springfield Cardinal. Come on, guys, let's... I do decry what the Cardinals and the Cardinals manager Ali Marmol do in bringing in, they leave the starting pitcher in for 5-6 innings and so forth, and it is a young season still, but going to the bullpen every time out, hey, it's going to cost you, and it did, and the Nationals win the game. Who knows where this will be once the season comes to an end. All these games count, folks. And the Cardinals let one get away. 9-6, Washington wins. Now, the Kansas City Royals played well. Knocked off the Cleveland Guardians by a score of 4-2. And it was Jonathan India, again, a guy who's not a home run hitter. Hit a 2-run homer in the 8th inning. Hit a grand slam the other day. 2-run homer in the 8th inning, and that propelled the Royals to victory. Michael Wacha gets the win. So it's a 4-2 win for the Royals over the Guardians, but a 9-6 win for the Washington Nationals over the Cardinals.
The Royals and Guardians, I think, are going to be chasing each other for the majority of this year. That's the way it's looking. I know it's early. We're only 10 games in, 11 games in, but watching that game last night made me feel like I'm going to see a lot of this in this division going forward through the season. In regards to the Royals. Interesting choice in North Carolina as their new coach. What do you think about that?
This is the first time in over 70 years that the University of North Carolina is going outside the family, so to speak, for their new coach. All the coaches prior to this have had some connection with the university, including Hubert Davis, who just got let go. He was a star player for them. But this time, the Tar Heels have gone outside and hired a pro coach, Michael Malone, who for 10 years has been the coach of the Denver Nuggets and done a great job with them. Prior to that, with the Sacramento Kings, he was the coach for a couple of years. And he has been named as the new coach at North Carolina, or if he is not officially named, will be a little bit later on today. The last non-University of North Carolina coach was Frank McGuire in 1952. Gosh, I was a kid in, 5th, 6th, 7th grade. I don't remember where it was at the time. But Frank McGuire took that North Carolina program and turned them around. And how he did it was very interesting. No, there wasn't a transfer portal or anything like that. But McGuire, New York City guy, had done all his coaching up in New York City. He brought in 5 New York City players, led by a great All-America, Lenny Rosenbluth. I remember him very well. And North Carolina won the national championship in 1957 under Frank McGuire, beating Wilt Chamberlain and the Kansas Jayhawks. Oh, my. Anyway, the new coach is Michael Malone. He comes in at North Carolina, and he has rebuilding to do.
Can't remember where Golden Corral is in town, but can remember all those stats from that game in 1957.
And you're right, I got lost going to it the other day.
I know. I wanted to ask you the whole deal. Women's college basketball really isn't on my radar, but I watched that post-game conference that Coach Schaefer in Texas gave, and about Rory Hammond not getting in as an All-American. What do you think about that? I was going to ask you about that.
In regards to the transfer?
Her not getting any votes. I mean, after the season she had, and he had that press conference talking about, look at all these stats. She didn't get one vote. Are you kidding me?
Vic Schaefer is a very astute individual.
Yeah.
He's been around. Lady Bears have played against him. He has a good knowledge of it. He also came down the other day and decried the transfer portal. He said this is not good. But over and above all that, the transfer portal is open. It opens for the men today. It opened for the ladies yesterday. It always opens one day. I say always, but they engineered it now to where the transfer portal opens up one day after the championship. Well, the ladies play theirs on Sunday, so they get an extra. That's unfair to say. They start before the men do, but they also end it before the men do. It's 21 days that it's opened up. The men's transfer portal opens up today and ends on April the 21st. How important is the transfer portal? Look at Michigan. Look at Connecticut. and not so much Connecticut, but Michigan. They were all transfers, all individuals who use that portal to come in there. So it certainly has an effect, as does nil, with the individuals who are coming in and playing. How much money am I going to get, and so forth. The game has changed, Mike, and I'm not sure I'm in favor of all of it, but I'm just a small voice.
When's that executive order go into play? Is that going to affect?
Well, the president did sign an executive order, but it'll go to the courts before anything else happens.
Ned, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.